Said the attire was blue and black. Nobody said we could just wear all black, so I didn't catch the memo.
You didn't read the memo. The memo.
So now I got my church sweater on.
The memo said,
and I don't think I really like that.
And blue.
You look fine.
Yeah, and you could have worn all blue.
You look fine, and your braids are braiding.
Yo,
the stitch is stitching.
Yo, no. Then he's switching up the songs. Come on, let's talk about it.
It's easy.
Come on, Tim, I'm exposed.
And after church, it looks like they went bowling. So after church, bowling looks like fun. Chrisean was doing some commentary, reactions, and she seems very, very competitive in everything she does.
Come on, D. Look. Oh, okay. You warming up. Matthew, it's your turn. Matthew. Be next. It's okay. My ball is golden. It's a joke. It's a joke, y'all. Oh.
Nobody saw this coming. 1 minute the timeline is loud, chaotic, and arguing like it's a reality show reunion. And the next minute Chrisean Rock is walking into Sunday service holding baby Chrisean Jesus like. The whole world just hit pause. The internet blinked twice. Church pews instead of controversy. Gospel music instead of screaming live streams. This felt like a plot twist so sharp it could slice through a headline. Let's be honest, when Chrisean trends, it's usually explosive. It's dramatic. It's loud enough to wake up people who weren't even online. But this moment was different. It wasn't chaos. It wasn't defiance. It was quiet. And sometimes quiet is more shocking than a viral meltdown. People didn't know whether to clap, cry, or accuse somebody's PR team of working overtime. Because when someone known for storms suddenly steps into a sanctuary, the vibe shift is undeniable. This wasn't just a church appearance, it felt like a chapter turning in real time, and the baby, front and center. Chrisean Jesus instantly became the emotional anchor of the moment. Cameras zoomed, clips circulated, think pieces started forming before the choir hit the high note. The internet smelled a storyline, and everybody leaned in. Was this growth? Was this strategy? Was this healing? Or was this just another unpredictable episode in a saga that never sleeps? Whatever it was, nobody scrolled past it, and that alone says everything. The moment didn't start with a press release or a dramatic announcement. It started with a clip, a simple visual, Chrisean Rock walking into Sunday service holding Chrisean Jesus. And suddenly the timeline felt different. No shedding, no flashing arguments, no explosive captions, just church doors opening and cameras, catching something nobody expected. For someone whose name trends like it has a permanent reservation on the front page, this shift felt almost surreal. The internet is used to seeing her in the middle of storms, not stepping into sanctuaries. That contrast alone sparked immediate debate. People didn't even wait for context. Opinions loaded faster than the video buffer. Let's be honest, public perception of Chrisean has never been neutral. It's been loud, divided, and heavily opinionated. Supporters see resilience. Critics see recklessness. Spectators see entertainment. So when she appears in a church setting holding her son, the narrative doesn't just pause. It glitches. Comment sections lit up like a holiday display. Is this growth? Is this rebranding? Is this genuine? The internet treated it like a courtroom hearing. Evidence, one Sunday service appearance, jury, millions of strangers with Wi-Fi. Verdict, still pending. But what made this moment heavier wasn't just the location. It was the baby. Chrisean Jesus instantly became the emotional centerpiece. A mother holding her child inside a space associated with faith carries symbolism. Whether people wanted to or not, that image alone softened even some of the loudest critics. Still, skepticism clocked in early. Some claimed this was calculated, others said it was overdue. A few insisted it was performative. Social media doesn't just watch, it analyzes. It zooms in on facial expressions like it's reviewing security footage. Every blink becomes a theory. The irony is almost poetic. When celebrities spiral publicly, people demand change. But when that change appears, even in small moments, it gets interrogated like a suspicious package. Growth is applauded in theory but doubted in practice. And Chrisean's appearance at Sunday service exposed that tension immediately. There's also history at play. You can't erase months of viral chaos with one quiet clip. That's not how reputation works in the digital age. The internet keeps receipts. It archives everything. So when a softer image surfaces, it clashes with what people think they already know. Yet something about the footage felt unforced. No dramatic speech, no defensive energy, just presence, and presence can be powerful, especially for someone who is usually surrounded by noise. The absence of chaos was louder than any controversy she's ever trended for. Observers began dissecting the symbolism. Church represents reflection, accountability, healing. Whether intentional or not, the setting suggested a different headspace. And when you add motherhood into that equation, the narrative deepens. A woman often criticized for instability now. Standing in a place associated with stability created cognitive dissonance for viewers. Some supporters saw it as a turning point. They argued that motherhood changes priorities. They believed faith might be grounding her. They saw a human moment rather than a headline. For them, this wasn't a PR move. It was personal growth unfolding quietly. Meanwhile, critics weren't. Convinced, they questioned timing. They questioned motives. They questioned everything except their own expectations. In celebrity culture, authenticity is demanded constantly but rarely believed. That contradiction fuels endless debate. What's undeniable is the emotional impact of the imagery. A mother holding her child in a sacred space is universally relatable. Strip away the fame, the headlines, the arguments, and what remains is a human scene. And human scenes hit differently than viral drama clips. The conversation quickly expanded. Beyond just one Sunday, people started asking bigger questions. Is she entering a new era? Is this part of a long-term shift? Is she trying to redefine how the public sees her? Those questions show how much narrative weight one appearance carried. It also exposed how invested the public is in her story. Indifference would have meant silence. Instead, the reaction was intense. That intensity proves something important. People are watching closely. They care enough to debate. They care enough to argue. And maybe that's the real headline. Not that she attended church. Not that she held her son. But that a moment of stillness disrupted a narrative built on turbulence. It forced the audience to reconsider what they thought they understood. Celebrity culture thrives on extremes. We like heroes or villains, redemption arcs or downfall spirals. Gray areas make people uncomfortable. This Sunday service appearance landed squarely in that gray space. It wasn't dramatic enough to condemn. It wasn't transformative enough to crown as redemption. It just existed. That existence alone was powerful. It reminded people that public figures are not one-dimensional characters. They can be chaotic and reflective, loud and quiet, flawed and hopeful. The internet prefers consistency, but humans are rarely consistent. By the end of the day, the clip had traveled everywhere. Reaction videos, commentary threads, repost accounts. Some framed it as emotional, some framed it as strategic. But nobody framed it as irrelevant. That says more than any hot take. This wasn't about proving anything overnight. It was about perception shifting, even slightly, and perception shifts slowly. One moment doesn't rewrite history, but it can plant it out in a rigid narrative. It can introduce possibility. As the debates continued, one thing became clear. The story isn't finished. This appearance didn't close a chapter. It opened questions about growth, about motherhood, about faith, about whether someone known for chaos can genuinely embrace calm. And that uncertainty is what keeps the audience engaged. Not because they want failure, not because they demand perfection, but because they're curious. Curious whether this was a brief pause or the beginning of a different direction. In a culture obsessed with spectacle, sometimes the most disruptive move is silence. And on that Sunday, silence spoke louder than any headline ever could, because once the Sunday service clip made its rounds, the reaction didn't just simmer, it escalated. What started as soft commentary turned into a full-blown cultural debate, not about church, not even about motherhood, but about transformation. And whether the public is even willing to believe in it, the memes hit first. Of course, they always do side-by-side comparisons of before and after. Dramatic captions about redemption season. Some people joked that this was the soft launch of a new era. Others claimed it was the hard reset nobody ordered. The internet doesn't process emotion without turning it into content. But beneath the sarcasm, something deeper was brewing. People weren't just reacting, they were projecting. For some, this moment felt hopeful. For others, it felt strategic. The divide became loud enough to rival any past controversy. Influencers jumped in with breakdown threads that read like psychological dissertations. Notice the calm body language. Look at the lack of defensive energy. This feels intentional. Suddenly, everyone became an expert in emotional transitions. Social media has a master's degree in overanalysis. And then came the celebrity-adjacent reactions. You know the type. Cryptic Instagram stories about healing seasons. Vague tweets about growth looking good on people. No names mentioned, but everybody knew exactly who the energy was directed at. Subtle support can sometimes be louder than direct endorsement. At the same time, critics sharpen their skepticism. We've seen this storyline before. They argued, public figures go quiet, post something reflective, and then chaos returns. It's almost like the audience has been trained to expect relapse instead of progress. Cynicism has become the default setting. What made this moment different, though, was the absence of drama attached to it. There was no explosive interview, no public argument, no defensive livestream explaining motives, just presence. And that lack of spectacle made it harder to attack. Still, people tried. Some labeled it rebranding. Others called it damage control. The assumption that every move is calculated says more about how we consume fame than it does about the person involved. In the digital age, authenticity is interrogated like a suspect in a crime show. Meanwhile, supporters leaned in harder. They pointed out the obvious. Growth doesn't happen loudly. It doesn't arrive with fireworks and a PR campaign. Sometimes it looks like showing up quietly in a space that grounds you. Sometimes it looks like holding your child and choosing peace over performance. The contrast between old headlines and this new image became meme material itself. From trending chaos to trending calm, from viral arguments to Sunday hymns, it felt like watching a character pivot mid-season in a drama series. And audiences love a character arc. But here's where it got even more interesting. The conversation shifted from her to the public. People started questioning why growth feels suspicious. Why do we demand change but doubt it when it appears? Why is scandal easier to believe than sincerity? It exposed something uncomfortable. The internet thrives on turbulence. Calm doesn't generate the same adrenaline rush. Chaos keeps engagement high. Peace makes people nervous. And when someone known for stormy headlines steps into stillness, it disrupts the entertainment cycle. Podcasters picked it apart for hours. Reaction channels analyzed the clip frame by frame like it was the Zapruder film of celebrity evolution. Some praised the vulnerability. Others predicted a dramatic twist was inevitable. Nobody agreed, but everybody talked. The baby remained central to the emotional weight. Chrisean Jesus wasn't just present, he symbolized responsibility. And responsibility changes narratives. Motherhood shifts optics in ways controversy never can. The image of a mother in church carries a gravity that even critics hesitate to mock too aggressively. Still, not everyone softened. There were loud voices insisting that one Sunday doesn't equal transformation. And technically, right, growth isn't proven in a single appearance. But moments matter. Moments can signal direction. They can hint at internal shifts that outsiders can't fully measure. As the week went on, the intensity didn't fade. It evolved. Instead of asking, "Is this real?" people began asking, "What happens next?" And that question is more powerful because it suggests possibility rather than dismissal. Brands and media outlets watch carefully. Public image is currency. And if this marks the beginning of a softer narrative, that could influence opportunities. In celebrity culture, perception shapes everything. A shift in tone can open doors that controversy once kept closed. But nothing is guaranteed. The audience is cautious. They've seen too many dramatic arcs rise and fall. Trust is earned slowly and lost quickly. And Chrisean's public journey has been anything but linear. What's undeniable is this: the Sunday service appearance forced a conversation bigger than the clip itself. It sparked debate about growth, authenticity, motherhood, faith, and the way we consume public figures. That's not small. This wasn't just another viral moment. It felt like a fork in the road. One path leads back to familiar chaos, the other suggests evolution. The public is watching closely to see which direction unfolds. And maybe that's why this moment hit harder than expected. Not because it was loud, not because it was dramatic, but because it introduced uncertainty. It made people question their assumptions. It challenged the narrative they were comfortable repeating. In a culture addicted to predictability disguised as drama, unpredictability disguised as peace is the real shocker. And whether people believe it or not, something shifted. Now the spotlight isn't just on what she did, it's on what she'll do next. And that anticipation, that's the real cliffhanger, because viral moments are easy, sustained shifts are hard. And now the spotlight isn't just on a single Sunday service appearance, it's on consistency. The internet is watching for patterns, not poses. One quiet moment can spark conversation. But repetition is what reshapes reputation. In the days following the appearance, the tone around her name subtly shifted. Not dramatically, not magically, but slightly. And in celebrity culture, slight shifts matter. Headlines that once defaulted to chaos began adding words like growth and reflection into the mix. That's not accidental. That's perception, adjusting in real time. But let's not pretend skepticism disappeared. Critics remained alert, waiting for a contradiction. Social media has a long memory and an even longer screenshot archive. The audience isn't naive. They've seen arcs start and collapse before. Trust online is fragile, especially for figures who've lived loudly in public. Still, something undeniable happened. The image of Chrisean Rock holding Chrisean Jesus inside a church added a new layer to her public identity. It complicated the narrative, and complexity makes it harder to reduce someone to a headline. For years, the conversation around her has been binary. Either she's chaotic or she's misunderstood. Either she's reckless or she's resilient. But this moment introduced a third option, evolving. And evolution doesn't fit neatly into clickbait. Motherhood plays a major role here. The presence of her son changes how people interpret her actions. A mother seeking grounding hits differently than a celebrity seeking attention. Responsibility reframes behavior. It forces even critics to pause before labeling. That doesn't mean consequences from the past disappear. Reputation is cumulative. Every public moment adds weight to the scale. But growth is also cumulative. And if this appearance marks the beginning of quieter choices, over time, perception could transform gradually. The entertainment industry is watching too. Public figures operate within ecosystems of branding, partnerships, and opportunities. If the narrative shifts toward maturity and reflection, doors that once seemed closed may quietly reopen, not because of a single church visit, but because of what follows it. Yet the pressure is intense. Once the internet senses a potential redemption arc, expectations skyrocket. Every move becomes magnified. Every decision gets dissected. Living under that microscope can either solidify change or strain it. And here's the truth most commentary overlooks: a transformation isn't linear, it's messy. It includes setbacks. It includes private battles the audience never sees. Public growth often gets judged without understanding the internal process behind it. The Sunday service moment created a checkpoint, a reference point. Now, whenever controversy attempts to re-enter the narrative, people will compare it to that image of stillness. Contrast will shape future reactions. That's powerful. Relationships may also shift under this new tone. Public. Dynamics that once thrived on volatility may feel different if she leans into stability. Chaos requires two people to feed it. Calm disrupts that cycle. And disruption changes chemistry. Fans who supported her through turbulence feel validated by signs of reflection. They see potential realized. Critics who doubted her remain cautious. They're waiting for proof through action rather than symbolism. Both reactions are understandable. But one thing is undeniable, the conversation is no longer one-dimensional. It's layered, nuanced, curious. That alone marks change. When discourse evolves from ridicule to analysis, the narrative matures alongside it. Media outlets will continue testing the waters if she maintains a quieter presence. Stories will adjust accordingly. If unpredictability resurfaces, headlines will snap back instantly. The balance between those possibilities creates suspense, and suspense fuels attention. What makes this chapter compelling isn't certainty, it's uncertainty. Nobody can confidently declare this the beginning of a full transformation, but nobody can dismiss it outright either. It exists in that gray space where potential lives. That gray space is uncomfortable for audiences trained to categorize quickly. We prefer definitive labels, but humans don't operate in absolutes. They shift, they adapt, they evolve. Public figures are no exception, even if we forget that sometimes. If this moment represents genuine reflection, time will reveal it through consistency. If it's temporary, that too will become obvious. The internet is patient in its skepticism. It waits for evidence. What's different now is that the narrative has expanded. She's no longer just the headline people expect. She's also the image people didn't predict. And unpredictability keeps stories alive. In the long term, perception won't hinge on one Sunday. It will hinge on patterns, on decisions made when cameras aren't intentionally present, on whether peace becomes habitual instead of occasional. The public will continue to watch closely. Supporters will hope for sustained growth. Critics will monitor for contradictions. Observers will analyze every shift in tone. That's the price of visibility. But for now, one thing stands clear. A single appearance disrupted a familiar storyline. It introduced a new angle. It complicated assumptions, and in celebrity culture, complexity is rare. Whether this marks the start of a new era or a brief pause before another storm remains uncertain. But uncertainty is powerful. It keeps attention locked in. It keeps audiences speculating, and maybe that's the real takeaway. Not that everything has changed, not that nothing will ever go wrong again, but that change is possible enough to spark debate. In a world addicted to predictable chaos, a quiet moment can feel revolutionary, and that revolution doesn't roar, it whispers. So now I need to hear from you. Was this the beginning of a real transformation, or just another unpredictable twist in a story that never sleeps? Never sleeps. Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't hold back, because I already know that section is about to turn into a full-blown debate arena. Are we witnessing growth in real time? Or are we watching the calm before another headline storm? If you made it this far, you're not just watching, you're invested. So go ahead and smash that like button like it owes you rent money. Hit subscribe like the next viral moment is dropping tomorrow. Because let's be honest, in celebrity culture, it probably is. Turn on notifications so you don't miss a single plot twist, pivot, or public glow up. This channel doesn't just report moments, we dissect them, flip them upside down, and read between the lines. No blind hype, no lazy takes, just sharp breakdowns with energy that matches the chaos of the culture. And trust me, the headlines don't slow down, they multiply. So tell me, redemption arc loading or storyline still buffering? Is this evolution or just a pause? I want to see your theories, your predictions, and your hottest takes right now. Because around here, the drama never retires, the narratives never sit still, and the spotlight, it never turns off. This has been another deep dive into the unpredictable. World of celebrity headlines, welcome to Celeb Insanity, where the plot twists are constant and the story is never over.